Welcome to Policy on Demand. I'm Sindhu Blume. It is the week of September 29th, and this is your Monday briefing. The traffic jam leading up to a government shutdown is in process. The president is scheduled Monday afternoon to meet with congressional leaders to work out an agreement. Here to talk about the sticking issues and the possibilities of this important week in Washington is Janice Mays. Janice, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. So these talks are happening today, and I just want to point out to our viewers, we are filming this at 10 a.m., so things might change. But what are you expecting, and is there a possibility that we could get out of a shutdown?
I think there is a limited possibility. It's just because I always have hope. There's always left when all else is gone. But I think it is a very limited possibility. Washington is expecting a shutdown. The Democrats are serious about wanting relief on health care issues and costs of that. The administration tried last week to suggest that there might be firings at the department for things that are not necessarily things that are consistent with the president's priorities for workers. And Democrats didn't find that persuasive. They think that's happening anyway. So I think we're barreling toward a potential shutdown. The talks are potentially helpful. It's always good to talk and to listen. We'll see. But at the moment, I think expectations on both sides are that you will see a shutdown Tuesday night. How long it goes, none of us knows. That will depend so much on how the public perceives the shutdown. Kind of, is there blame attached to one side or the other? And where are departments really able to stay open? For example, the Defense Department, Homeland Security got some money in the One Big Beautiful Bill. They may be able to just keep going through even an extended shutdown. But other things like the Women and Infants and Children's Program, funding, trying to help people have formula, et cetera, those might shut down pretty quickly. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
And just a reminder, I know we talk about this all the time, but in a shutdown, not everything is shut down.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You will see the air traffic controllers still at their jobs. You'll see the TSA still checking people going into airports. You'll see anything that's viewed as an emergency or necessary. The military will continue to function, but there'll be lots of things. Even though Social Security's paid to people, they'll get their checks. They might not be able to make an appointment at the Social Security office because those people might not be there during that time.
Right. So let's go back to the talks for this afternoon. Could tax be a part of that discussion?
It could be. I think it's too soon. One of the issues in front of them is the subsidy for buying your health premiums on the market. That is a tax credit. We all think about it these days as more health policy than tax policy. But at the moment, the Republicans are saying it's too soon to start talking about. And they're split right now on whether they want to really act on that or not. So I don't think this will be a substantive negotiation on those issues. I think other potential tax things, if at the end of the year, you have a much bigger, longer continuing resolution or actual appropriation bills, that could be a magnet that attracts some tax issues. And there are a lot floating around. We still haven't dealt with that Taiwan double tax bill. There are other health issues that might go along with some extension of the premium tax credit. There's always money to help people save for their retirement, secure. I think we're up to 3.0 now, trying to deal with those things. So there are a number of things out there. There are extenders. We still have a few of those. The work opportunity tax credit. And then we have some things that I think are less likely, but could try to get in the door on a package like that. Remember, it has to be a bipartisan package.
Right.
So among those things are some fixes to the One Big Beautiful Bill. There are some interactions with CAMT, with the big minimum tax, on how some of these new benefits, they don't get fully realized by companies at this point. There's debate over the G7's promise to accept our international tax system, and that's not going too quickly right now. So do people want to bring up that so-called revenge tax proposal on inbound companies, Section 899? I think that probably would not get into a package. They might want to reintroduce that, but not necessarily push it through. And then are they doing things like the premium tax credit that cost money that they want to offset that money? would they maybe bring up something like the excise tax on stock buybacks? So there are lots of things I think not truly likely.
Right.
They would want to keep it a small tax package along with some trade and some health things.
So I have a follow-up to this. Usually we talk about, all right, what are some next steps for companies? What are they doing? And I was just listening to your response to the second question, and I'm wondering, how are companies, what are they doing? And do they have a role? Do they have a voice at this point?
They have some voice in their sense of talking to their Congress members, et cetera, about kind of what makes sense. If you have a protracted shutdown, it costs the economy. It hurts the economy to do that. If it's very short term, it's a little blip. But if it's much longer, so if they have relationships, they're talking to those members. Most of them are sitting back and just wondering what's happened to government.
Right.
It's what it is.
All right. So let's move on to a bill that currently has no traction, but everybody's talking about it. And I want to get clarification from you. It's Senator Bernie Moreno from Ohio. He introduced the Halting International Relocation of Employment Act, HIRE is the abbreviation, in which companies would be imposed a tax if they are not employing U.S. people in the United States. So what is the status of this?
Well, it has been an introduced bill. Thousands of bills are introduced every year. This is one of those. It's not a particularly well-known one unless we make it well-known at this point. But it was introduced in July when Senator Moreno heard the president kind of disdaining and unhappy that all these data centers were being set up offshore. Why aren't they being done in the U.S.? So he introduced a bill, 25% tax and no deductions for payments for this outsourcing. That's a 46% tax rate when you add those two things together. And so, of course, business is looking at it going, oh my goodness, in this disrupted world, could this happen? At the moment, I'm very doubtful. I do not think it has legs. He introduced it in July. He does not have a single co-sponsor for his bill. He's not on a tax writing committee. Those tax writing committees do believe that they gave incentives for making intellectual property here in the U.S. They're not certain they want a stick to go along with the carrot that they already have, especially such a big stick as this. So I think he's still a drum major with no band behind him right now. There is something I am concerned about, kind of in the same area, and that is one of President Trump's trade advisors, Peter Navarro, has talked publicly about imposing tariffs on services, kind of this same world. So there is disruption here as there is anywhere else, and companies should pay attention, but they shouldn't give it so much public attention that they cause it to happen.
All right. And finally, thank you for that. Finally, as you're speaking with companies, there is disruption, there's chaos. What direction or guidance are you providing them as they kind of look at, all right, how are we going to deal with all these issues, down the road or ones that are happening today?
My tennis instructor in college, I was never very good at it, but she always said, get back to the center court and bend your knees, be ready to go in whatever direction you have to go in. Well, that's what we have to do. Companies want certainty. They don't have certainty today. That's just not kind of in our world. So they have to be agile. They have to adapt. This is the very time to be doing scenario planning. It's just you probably have to plan for more than one thing.
Sure.
Be ready for several things that might happen to you. So be prepared as possible so that you can pivot and act quickly.
Janice, thank you as always.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. For our viewers, in case you missed it, the latest Week in Review with Scott McCandless is in the description of this episode. We appreciate you spending this time with us. Take care and have a good week.